Hey guys, welcome to the Convo couch. Today we've got Alison Covington. She's the founder and managing director of Good 360. Thank you for coming on.
It's my pleasure, thank you. So I wasn't in the charity world. I didn't know anything about charities. I always actually had a corporate career, and I'd had some illness, and I was thinking, do I want to go back to my normal job? Do I want to do something else? And I thought I was quite fortunate that I had survived my illness. And I wondered whether I could do something that was more gratifying, like to give back to community, to give back to the world. Once you've gone through something quite serious, you look at yourself and you think you're very fortunate. So what could you do to be thankful for that? So I started investigating, what charities could I work for? Could I use my skills for good? And I couldn't find one that I wanted to work for, and I just went, I just kept reading, and I accidentally just tripped up over the concept of Good 360 operating in the US, and I thought, I want to work for them here in Australia, and they just didn't exist. And then I just kept thinking about, the concept was that if you had non-perishable goods, so if you had brand new toys and clothes and health and beauties and household goods, and they weren't sold through from businesses, you could match them up to people who needed them. And in Australia, we were very used to food waste, and there was heaps of charities who were doing that. So we were matching up supermarket food and giving them to charities. But in Australia, nobody was matching up all those toys. But in the US, they had been doing that for over 30 years, and they had done that on scale. So they had done, at that stage, $7 billion worth of goods. So that's like such a big scale, and they had worked with such big brands like Walmart and Home Depot and HP. And I just couldn't figure out that if for 30 years all those amounts of goods had been matched up to people in America, what was happening to the goods here in Australia? And I went back and I was thinking that 30 years back in my life, that had been happening for all those years. So since I was a young girl, people had had that happening in one country in the world, but we hadn't had that happen in Australia. So what I think is that once you have knowledge, it's a really powerful thing. And if you don't do something with that knowledge, what's going to happen then? So it just chewed away at me for a very long time. And then I had this sense of guilt that because I had the knowledge, I had to do something with it. So I started Good 360.
What was it about the concept of Good 360 that struck you and that you connected with compared to all the other not-for-profit organizations that you found out about?
Yeah, I think because it made sense to me that I had the skills to do something with it. So it was a logistics type operation. I had a background in transport, so I was running bus companies. So instead of moving people, I would just move boxes. So I thought, that's easier. They don't talk back. So I can't have passengers complain. The boxes were things, and I would give them to people, and I thought, that's easier.
And people are happy too when you give it to them.
Yeah. Whereas passengers on buses always have something to say. They don't like where the buses go, or, things like that. So I thought I had the skills to make that happen. I had developed an IT platform before, and we were going to need a lot of technology to make this happen on scale. And I had built a technology. I had built e-commerce in another business that I had, and I also had imported children's clothing, so I knew the amount of excess that's in the industry. So I knew that businesses at the end of season didn't sell through their goods. So it was the lining of the planets to the stars that I had all the skills, I had the knowledge, and here was a charity that was doing good. So it was like using my evil corporate skills for good, but doing something nice in the world. And I just thought, why in a country like ours would we have so much poverty? It made absolutely no sense to me when there's all this spare and there's all this need. Why don't I just build the technology and logistics and match the two up? It just made sense. So,
was there anything that you encountered that sort of you weren't quite sure of, that you had to get your head around in terms of starting it up?
Yeah, absolutely everything. I knew nothing about charity. I knew nothing. I didn't know how to fundraise. I didn't know that network. There's a whole world of philanthropy I had no idea about. But I suppose I come from a world in, a self-belief where if I don't know it, I'll figure it out. And I think that's really important, is just understanding that there's nothing that you don't know that you can't figure out if you have a sense of self-belief that you can do it. And it's bigger than me, because if I fix this, if I figure that out, I have the ability to have a ripple effect to benefit so many thousands, if not millions of people. And I often say to the team that we've built now that nobody was uniquely qualified to start this. So if I had applied for my own job, I never would have got it. I wasn't qualified to do it because it took a whole series of skills that nobody was uniquely qualified to do it. But it took somebody who was tenacious enough and resilient enough to get enough doors closed in their faces of people saying, no, you can't do that. And I'd just go, well, I'm going to do it anyhow, and open another door and have another door closed and have another door open and another door closed. But people who were far more qualified and a million times more intelligent than me probably would have given up if the door got closed. And I think that's the important thing to remember. If you want to start a business, you don't have to necessarily be the smartest person in the room. You have to be the person who's willing to keep having those doors closed and get a way to get another door opened. And I think that's where in the charity world, I didn't have the knowledge, but I wasn't afraid, and I didn't have the ego to assume I had the knowledge. But I wasn't afraid to ask a lot of questions, and I'm still asking a lot of questions because I still don't know the answers to them. Because I think if you ask any entrepreneur, it's such a roller coaster road. Like, you go up and down that roller coaster so many times, and you're rocking in a corner asking yourself, why would I do this? Because there's many days where you want to give up because it makes no sense to do it. But then you look at, some story that you get back from somebody where you've actually changed somebody's life. And it can be the smallest thing that we do actually has a massive impact on somebody else's life. And you think if you didn't keep fighting to do that, the ripple effect on somebody else's life wouldn't happen. And so you rocking in a corner is so irrelevant that you just think you have to keep fighting for the good that you're doing for somebody else because they can't fight that fight. And that's why you keep rocking all those nights when you go, why am I doing this? I just can't accept the inequality. Like, to me, it just made absolutely no sense that if we had spare and we had somebody that needs it. Once I found that out, like, it just burnt away at me when I figured out that we had billions of dollars of brand new things here in Australia. Like, why would we not give them to Australians who need them when we have so many people going without? We're so concerned with food waste. And the thing for me is that, you can feed somebody and they're hungry again in a matter of hours. That's not going to change their outcomes. It doesn't get them into employment. It doesn't get them out of homelessness. It doesn't change their educational outcomes. We need to complete a person. And when we have all these other items, the clothing, the toys, the homewares, the household goods, it creates equality. It makes them the same as everybody else in society. And I, just use the example is that just such simple things as personal care goods, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant. If people don't have that, we're not equal in society. How many times would we walk past somebody on the street or be stood on the train next to someone? If they don't look and smell like the rest of us, they don't thrive in society, they don't go on to get employment. We judge people. Like, it's awful, it's so materialistic. But if you don't have access to be equal in society, you can't thrive in society. And those goods are readily available, but we're not matching them to the people who need them. So once I figured that out, I hate the idea of inequality. It just burns away at me. And it's wasteful. Why wouldn't we match it up?
Okay.
And that's why I said knowledge is powerful and you have to do something with it. We have an online website. So we work with over 1,300 charities and not-for-profits and eligible schools. So any charity who's registered with the ACNC, which is our governing body here in Australia, who says, are they a legitimate charity in Australia? There's over 50,000 in Australia. So they can sign up to Good 360. Registration's free. We just have to do a criteria to make sure that they're eligible. Once they're then an eligible member of Good 360, charities from all sizes and causes, from the big name charities that you would know like the Salvation Armies, the Wesleys, the Cancer Councils, etc., to the tiny grassroots charities who we don't know of but do fantastic works in communities all around Australia, sign up to Good 360. They shop on our website and they can see all the products that have been donated from many of our generous businesses. And those businesses can be anything from a Big W to a L'Oreal to a Lush to a Lego, any businesses that have spare and excess goods. We put all those products up on the website and then once they're on the website, the charities choose what they want and then they put it into their cart. So it's like online shopping for charities. So like you and I like to shop maybe late at night and do our shopping, charities get to shop 24/7 anytime that suits them to get the goods that they want. We then deliver those goods to the charity's door. They can also have the option of click and collect. They can come to our warehouse. They can also collect from some of our partner stores. So they can collect from Big W stores and things like that all around the country. They then get the goods and distribute to their communities. So people, whether it's working in family violence, refugees, children's charities, disability, so whatever the cause is around, we've probably got about 24 cause areas, Indigenous, youth, education. Those charities then work in those local communities to distribute the goods in the great programs that they're doing around Australia. So it's like a two-sided marketplace. We needed to know we had some goods, and we needed to know we had some charities who needed the goods. So it's a tricky marketplace, so can't have too many goods, and we have to have enough charities who need the goods, because if we have too many goods and the charities don't take the goods, we'll end up having, a warehouse full of goods. And also get goods that the charities want and not just goods that the businesses want to donate. So it's always just a very tricky sort of business that we're working with. And also, because Australia is quite a big country, delivering it all across every state and postcode, so that we can make sure that people in very remote areas to cities get access to the goods as well.
How do you sustain that in terms of the logistics of it? Deliveries and everything?
Yeah, so we have to fundraise as well, so people can donate to Good 360 Direct. We also look for ways of getting philanthropic funding, so we write for grants, try to access some government grants. Our corporate partners also sometimes sponsor our campaigns as well. So just like every other charity, we're out there trying to raise money so that we can pay for all our costs, to build our technology, to fund the freight costs, to get all the products across Australia, etc. So it's a tough game deciding to start such a big charity. It's hard. But, more and more people, love the work that we do and choose to support that work, because I suppose they become passionate like I do, wanting to know that spare is going to someone in their local community.
Where do you see yourself in about, say, the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, it's that continuous growth. So we want to have distributed about $1 billion worth of goods to Australians. So I think that's quite exciting. So that's just a massive achievement. And we also want to normalise it. I always say when I started this, by the time my children are in the workplace, it's normal that all product is donated. So you wouldn't think that wherever you work, that product sits idle in a warehouse, or worse still, going to landfill. No employee or consumer would let it happen. Just like we at home recycle and it goes into the appropriate bins, all workplaces would Good 360 it. And we wouldn't accept anything else. And a lot of the donations that we receive from businesses are employee initiated, because employees go, oh, I don't like putting it behind there. Who could we donate that to? And so we just want to normalise that behaviour. And we only work with, 100 businesses, yet there's thousands of businesses who could participate in transferring these goods to Australians who could use them.
Okay, so you see your market is so much bigger and wider.
Oh, it's $1 billion industry in terms of the amount of goods we could transfer. It's like a new economy. Governments and charities don't have enough cash to solve for the needs. A lot of charities are buying this product and we're like, well, you don't need to buy it. We could actually do this. It's just that re-education piece of it doesn't take cash to change outcomes. We could just transfer this product over here, and it's actually better for the planet if we didn't put it in landfill. It's actually a dirty little thing that we don't want to do. And businesses can't be blamed for that because there's not a system. There's not a solution for them that they know about. We have to educate people to say, here's the system, whether it's Good 360 or somebody else. But somebody can help you with this, donate it, and we can all thrive as a country. It's a democracy, because I just think, we have to get people to thrive and to be entrepreneurs. What we should be doing is try to get people to be more generous.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this episode in a series where we interview business leaders, tech innovators, and startup founders about their business journey, insights, and reflections. If you find value in this, please leave us a comment below, and also like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Enjoy!